Good morning, everyone. I hope you are feeling great today, as today we are going to have a quite nice session, quite nice webinar in order to let you know, in order to update you about what is happening with this citizen-led renovation initiative that most of you had heard about, most of you are really interested about. So this is a great opportunity for you to be able to learn more about this. I'm going to wait one more minute for someone who might be late joining, and then we are going to start. Thank you very, very much for being here. So I think it's good to start in order to have a little bit more time for the later on. Welcome on my side. My name is Stavros Piridakos from the ICP Institute for European Energy and Climate Policy. And my role basically today is going to be your moderator, is going to be the voice that you are going to hear the most. I would like to inform you, first of all, that this webinar is going to be translated in 15 languages for your convenience, as we want to be able to all the energy communities around Europe to be able to fully listen to all the updates that are taking place both under the CLR 1, CLR 2, and of course the CLR 3, the upcoming CLR 3. In order to be able to hear all the translation, it is quite simple. Pia has already provided some information in the chat. But if you're for a mobile phone, please scan the QR code that you can see now on your screen. Then is automated downloading the application, which the Interprefy application, which will make your life much easier. Then you have to insert the token. The token is highlighted in the screen. It is the citizen-led renovation. However, if you scan the QR code, it is already included there. Following this, you are able to select the language that you prefer for this translation to take place. It is an automated translation by AI. So thank you very much for your patience if something might be wrong. And yeah, if you have any questions, do not hesitate asking them. So today we're going to start a little bit with agenda. We're going to have some welcome and introduction on my side. Then we're going to jump in the phase 2, the quite interesting phase 2, citizen-led renovation phase 2 that took place and is still ongoing for some months. Then we're going to hear from the phase 3, what is going to come after in the next years. And of course, in the end, we're going to have an open session, a Q&A session where all of you are invited to provide us any questions that you want to be responded or any other information that you want to know. I would like to inform you that this meeting is going to be recorded. The recorded is going to be last till the end of the presentations. We are not going to include the Q&A sessions for the GDPR rules. And of course, all the presentations are going to be shared with all the registers after the event for your convenience. Regarding the housekeeping rules, as I previously mentioned, we want this to be interactive. So during the event, we are going to have different questions, different polls that are going to be there, and also in the chat. You can ask questions directly in the Q&A chat, in the Q&A section that exists in the Microsoft Teams. And of course, you can ask them directly in the chat in order for us to be able to check them and respond in the Q&A session. Please note that both your microphones and your cameras have been deactivated during the initial phases. However, in the Q&A section, you will be able to activate both of them. In order to start our webinar, we wanted to initiate with a little bit more interactive to get closer to you, to get to know who we are having, but also to trigger you a little bit. So we wanted to start with a questions, triggering, I would say, questions. What's your main personal trigger to get involved in innovation? So we want to think about as a personal homeowner or as an inhabitant about this. The responses are either saving money, helping the planet, reducing the carbon footprint, improving the comfort, better home quality, being part of a community project, and of course, other if you want to respond. So please take a minute, if possible, to respond to these questions before starting the presentations that we and the whole team have prepared for you. I already see some responses in the chat. Helping the planet is leading, which I like a lot. Some extra seconds. Just a quick comment, as you can see, it is a little bit spread, I would say, the responses, with a leading, the one on the reducing carbon footprint, the environmental care, that all of us are quite interested about. But of course, the other are quite visioned, as all of the responses have been responded. As of course, saving the money is really an important reason of proceeding with renovation. The home quality is also, and of course, the being part of the community, being engaged with others, feeling as a member of this community is quite important for everyone. I'm going to start with giving the floor to Orestis Kouloulas, who is the person, I would say, behind the CLR Phase I and Phase II. He is from the coordination team, from the Thinky. He is a senior project expert, and we are going to hear the key project results and all the achievements that have been taken place both in the CLR 1 and in the Phase 2. Orestis, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Stavro. Give me 1 second to share my screen for my presentation. I will. So first of all, it's very nice to see you all here. I think now my presentation can be seen. Can you see the presentation? Yeah, thank you. So what I would like to first of all, I am aware we should be aware the session is being recorded, so I'll try to talk a bit slower than normally. So don't think that something horrible happened with me. It's just that I'm trying to make sure that the translation gets what what I want to say. So first of all, I am Orestis, as Stavros said, and I am here for representing ThinkE and the whole consortium of citizen-led renovation. So first of all, a few words like what is citizen-led renovation. When we wanted to see how it translates to a visual word overview, we see the words energy, renewable, communities, building, development. So citizen-led renovation is about shifting renovation from something that happens to people to something that is organized by the people. So it is the collective and coordinated organization of building renovation activities by citizens or community-based entities, such as energy communities. So the whole idea is actually to put the citizen at the driver's seat. That's why the DG Energy and CINEA wanted to launch this project and to see how we go indeed from top-down approach as we normally know it so far to a bottom-up approach. So to see how the renovation can start from below and not from above. So in this process there starts with citizens, local actors, and communities. And it builds capacity to local actors and combines technical, legal, financial, and community engagement tools. I am here from ThinkE, but CLR, citizen-led renovation, did not only happen by ThinkE. but with a whole consortium that you can see there. This is for CLR Phase I and Phase II. So we started with CLR Phase I. We are currently in CLR Phase II, and there is a CLR Phase III coming, which will be described later by our colleagues. So first, to give you an idea of how citizen-led renovation, how big the project is, we have also a little poll to just see if you will find the correct answer to this, is how many energy communities have received support during the citizen-led renovation project so far. So the first answer is up to 10 energy communities, 11 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 100, or more than 100 energy communities. Because, as I said, it is a project, I told you the main idea, going from top down to bottom up and putting the citizen in the driver's seat. So now I would like to give a bit of numbers and a bit of overview of how many we have actually been able to assist already. How many energy communities. And I will need to see the result to see, because normally in such polls, we say that there is no correct answer, but actually here there is a correct answer. So just having a little look. I won't make it very difficult. The first answer that I see now is the correct one. So between 50 and 100 energy communities, actually it's more than 60 communities that we have helped in both first and second phase. And you will, and to give you just an idea, so the project started in 2023 and 24 with phase one, which had 4 pilots in 4 different member states. And then it continued to phase two, which we are now, 2024 to 2025. Then the project got scaled up. We wanted because the first one was more like a pilot project. Phase two was taking the pilot project and getting to the next level. So trying to have more pilots and a big community of learners and followers, which we wanted to support with, always having an enablers board, a high profile and high level instrument, let's say, to steer and get conclusions. And the third part of citizen-led innovation, which starts, which is about to start actually, has to do with scaling up through support networks. And it goes from supporting individual pilot projects to establishing a robust network of organizations. But you will hear more about CLR3 soon. Just to give you an idea of the coverage of the project, you can see that CLR, you can see how many energy communities were there and supported in phase one and how many in phase two. You see the map already more filled. During phase one, the main assistance provided had to do with overcoming barriers, and these were financial barriers, legal barriers, technical barriers, and informational barriers, but also delivering with the aim of delivering future-proof residential buildings. Then in phase two, and I'm going quite quickly with that because the next presentations will go a bit deeper. For phase two, the point was mainly supporting our energy communities with technical assistance, with financial and legal guidance, capacity building and mentoring, ecosystem development, and community engagement support. Without going deep into the 6 pilots, because it will be the next part, I wanted to share a few words about the outcome so far of the whole citizen-led innovation project. And of course, it comes first to identifying some barriers. In short, I would say that these barriers included quite some technical barriers because some groups struggle really with the complexity of the process, the lack of the trusted service providers, and quite a diverse building stock, which requires then, one solution doesn't fit them all, so it needs to be more specific. Then legal and regulatory barriers, that was quite an important barrier that we found. Of course, financial barriers, because this is always the case in renovation. And then also social and informational barriers, so like low trust or limited access to renovation information. So some of these challenges were, I can say, some of these challenges were found during the project, and we also found and pinpointed some conditions for projects, which is the strengthening the local capacity, because this is closer to where the citizens are, then building trust and cooperation, and avoiding an overconfidence and strengthening really the internal support. I don't go very deep into that because the next presentations will go deeper. What I wanted to really showcase here also very quickly is some tools and support formats that were produced during the citizen-led renovation, and it has to do with renovation handbooks, communication tools, financial and legal templates, but also technical support tools. And to give you some examples, you can see from phase one, a guide for citizen-led renovation. You can see a personas guide, which actually says, which actually is a very interesting tool with the kind of personalities and kind of people, if they can be grouped, which approach our energy community then, and then the energy community, based on this guide, could give a more specific help and could answer their questions. And the retrofitting guide, as you can see, the example for Girona, which is a pilot for CLR3. So that was, in short, and a very general presentation of the CLR project. So as I said, and what I would like to pinpoint here is that so far we have supported a lot of energy communities during CLR Phase I, which has ended last year, CLR Phase II, which is ongoing now, and CLR3 will continue this effort to actually put the citizen to the driver's seat. Thank you. I give the floor back to Stavros.
Thank you very, very much, Orestes. I think the numbers that were mentioned was the most important part, that indeed right now we are covering in general the CLR covers more than, the support covers more than 60 energy communities. However, now we're going to focus in the 6 of them. As I said, I am Stavros. My role in the citizen renovation was basically that I was coordinating the pilots in the second phase, and I was the one that's supporting in the first phase one of the pilot. It is interesting to say that for these pilots, we tried the best. The main idea was the co-design. So we are having a lot of meetings with them. We are having a lot of exchanges with them in order to develop the content that they prefer, they want, and they find it the most useful to them. As the co-design and the citizen engagement, the whole procedure of this development of the materials are the core crucial principles that we're having in the CLR. Starting with the pilots, as promised, we are going to start with the Girona, the one we're having in Spain, which consists of the Gironal Governmental Council, but also with 5 renewable energy communities. So I would say it's a huge cluster of a pilot. And here what we tried, as you're going to see later on, the main support was to provide some legal and regulatory advice, some guidance for application and scale up, but also some guidance for some business model, but also for retrofitting as well. Jumping onto the next one, it's Zuidrand from Brussels. We are talking about the South Antwerp region, and here the core part was the business model development, some support in the legal and financial advice. And what we noticed there, we noticed that communication was really the key in order to proceed with all the citizen-led renovation and engagement in general. So we tried really to one of our pilots to be allocated to fully the communication, as we're going to see, including though the replication of a tool of the energy personas that Orestes mentioned previously. The next pilot was Castello Greenhouse, a pilot in Italy. We had 3 pilots in Italy, as Italy is really leading the place for the energy communities. And it has a quite nice framework, I would say, which supports the energy communities. About the Castello Greenhouse, this initiative was launched by local citizens in collaboration with the municipality. It exists a lot. It's a long, I would say, and lasting energy community with a focus of collective self-consumption, the solar PV installation, and increased energy efficiency. What we try to do here, we tried, of course, to provide some guidance in the business model development to modify them, check them, verify them, try to suggest some new approaches. For example, heat pumps could be connected with the solar PVs, and try to guide them a little bit on the financial planning and the replication potential. The next pilot was the Antrodoco, the citizen energy community in Antrodoco, which was created in 2019 in the Antrodoco in Lazio, and focuses exclusively on improving the energy efficiency of residential and public buildings. So here we tried a lot to enhance the capacity building for the community members, to develop some business model support, but also to enhance a lot the members of the energy community itself. As during the CLR and the support that we are providing, we try to achieve approximately double up the numbers of the members that were already there. Then the last pilot in Italy is the Posto and Guardabosone. It's consisted, it covers by 2 small municipalities, which they are aligning forces in order to join the CLR initiative. And as they're having the common vision is to tackle energy poverty among the vulnerable households. So they submitted as one, as I said, they joined forces in order to be able to achieve getting accepted by the citizen-led renovation initiative and receiving additional targeting support in all the assistance in the building and the local ecosystem and the local space, to providing some monitoring and impact evaluation tools, and of course, legal and financial structuring. We mentioned the last, but not the least. It's an interesting example, as here we are having both a municipality but an energy community as well. We are talking about the municipality of Alsomolsad. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Alsomolsad. Basically, we're talking about a small rural municipality in Hungary, which also has developed an energy community. The main focus there is, first of all, to mobilize the citizens to proceed with the renovations and energy efficiency, and also to focus on the development of inclusion of the vulnerable groups that are existing there. Here we tried a lot. It was a really interesting case, as we tried to provide some technical and financial guidance, some capacity building for appreciation in some other rural areas, as we are going to see later on from the tools, and of course supporting communication and citizen mobilization. We talked a lot about the pilots, but let's see in a little bit detail about the tools, the actual tools that both Orestes mentioned, what we did for them. For the Chironos pilot, we developed some retrofitting guidelines. What were these guidelines? We tried to cover 3 specific typologies: 90-50 social housing blocks, historical masonry homes, and 90-60 to 70 multifamily buildings, in order to provide some retrofitting scenarios for each one of the typologies. We wanted to have technical guidance on insulation, on glazing, ventilation, heat pumps, photovoltaic system, and of course accessibility improvements, but also some financial feasibility tools, how this retrofit could take place, what are, for example, some expected savings, some paid back periods, some mapping of available subsidies. But the most important, I believe, at least to myself, that again, as I said, this was co-designed with all the local experts, with municipalities, with our spoke, the single person of contact, Rosa, who really assisted and guided us on what the people want their building to have, these buildings, this typology exactly to have, as we needed exactly this guidance in order to adapt it for the local content. That's the main idea of the CLR. We are having the expertise to develop something for the local purpose. Then, accompanying this retrofitting scenario we also had one session one interesting session about the energy audits and energy auditing. We hear this terminology a lot, so we wanted to enhance this and to assist the pilot in order to get influenced by this. So we conducted a webinar, we organized a webinar developed in the local language in order to be understandable for all. That's why today's webinar is also translated in all 15 languages that we wanted to cover. Here we try to cover, this webinar try to cover the full audit process, explain some key diagnostic indicators, the link to the findings to the renovation planning, and to provide guidance on how to interpreting all these audit results to support these cost-benefit assessments, to subsidize the applications and to communication of the renovation options to residents. The next tool is the how-to guides, the how-to citizen renovation, which was briefly mentioned by Orestes previously, which was a tool that developed in the phase one, but also replicated in the second phase based on its unique, I would say, purpose and expertise. We are talking about a guidance with steps, with a roadmap there, which was originally developed for Isgray, the pilot in Bulgarian energy community in Bulgaria, in order to cover for financing options, legal framework, technical measure that should take place in order to proceed with citizen-led renovation. And then, as per requested by the pilot from the Apostol Guardabosone, has been adapted in order to make it tailored to the local housing typologies and to provide the national narratives and incentives to that perspective. Keep in mind that all the documents that we're developing are also translating in the national language, and some brieflets, brochures are being developed from them in order to be easily to be accessible by the locals and for them to understand exactly what we are here to offer. Via this, we wanted to support and strengthen all the municipality capacity and engagement in order to provide this accessible and actionable, I would say, guidance that really support the decision making. We wanted to exactly the one that is going to take the renovation know about what is going to what are going to be the benefits of the citizen-led renovation, why should take the whole citizen renovation. So this guide is for them, is for you. We are more than happy to disseminate, by the way, all these tools, and they're already able to be seen in our website. The next one is the Energy Personas guide, the guidelines, the Energy Personas tool that has been developed for Energent, one of the initial pilots that we had in the phase one in Belgium, and then utilized also by Zudrian. Basically, the main idea here is to train the stats to develop some persona-based communication exercise in order to be able to enhance the renovation uptake. Why this is mandatory? First of all, by this we are advertising, we are promoting, I would say, trust, affordability, motivation, and you are dealing with a lot of all the other communication barriers that are existing. This Energy Personas Guide tool, it's really, I believe, one of the flexible and easily to be replicated tool, as it doesn't have any barriers regarding policy. And now about the tools that are under development, I'm close to there. We're talking about the renovation guide. As I said, we're talking about Hungary in one really interesting case. Why we're talking about an interesting case? As it could be easily replicated to all the nearest rural cities and rural areas as well. In Hungary, there's a specific typology of a guidehouse, the Kadar Koka. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, apologize for this. For this typology, we are currently drafting together with our locals, together with our experts that we're having there, providing us all the information. We're trying to provide the specific guideline on how to renovate this specific typology, this specific type of building, which exists a lot in Hungary. So what are the plans? What we are currently doing? We are trying to develop 3 renovation pathways in order to give people choices with practical measures, with cost ranges, depending on how much its family or if each owner wants to spend, and some expected, I would say, savings for some rural households. We wanted to make it accessible, not only technical information, but also tailored, to example, to elderly people, to low-income residents, in order to limit the gap that is existing and enhance this. We want to have financial clarity and collective opinions in order to include all the subsidies and all the neighborhood-led innovation models that are existing there. And as I said, it is important to highlight that this is a really replication approach, as it could be replicated in most of the cities in Hungary and municipalities in Hungary with a similar rural housing stock. And I believe the last tool that I'm having is the one that we are currently full forces on it. It's the Energy Master Plan. So for Girona, for some of the energy communities, as I previously mentioned, we're talking about a huge pilot which includes from 5 energy communities plus the governmental authority. So for some energy communities, we have been asked to develop an energy master plan. The energy master plan will be for short period for 5 years, and it will be a comprehensive, let's say, local planning tool in order to provide a framework, a structural framework for future energy-related intervention and strategies. What will be the future steps, the future plan, I would say, of the energy community itself in order to make it sustainable and long-lasting. It establishes, I believe, a robust baseline through the community profile, but also detailed analysis of local energy demand and existing energy supply. We try to have some tailored details energy scenarios, some feasible local solutions, financial strategies, perhaps to align it also with the local and European and national regional frameworks. It also we want to include an implementation roadmap in order to make it feasible, not only to stay in the plan, but how it could be actually feasible work. And of course, to provide the monitoring and the risk management framework in order to track all this performance that will take place the next year, to evaluate the progress, and of course, to guide the long-term adaptive planning. Now I'm going to give the floor to Francesco Lessi from Ricardo. Francesco is, I believe, one of the core experts that we're having. He's an energy carbon policy expert at Ricardo, and his background is quite impressive as he's involved in various energy communities projects. Some of them are, for example, the Enercon facility that you might hear about, the newest published, the Citizen Energy Advisory Hub, and of course the Citizen-led Innovation. In the CLR, he is one of the coordinators, I would say, of the capacity buildings for learners and followers. Francesco, the floor is yours.
Very much, Stavros, for the very nice introduction. So we'll share my screen myself so I can go through the slides. So what I will present to you is another side, another output of the work we did through CLR. So as Stavros started and Orestes too, listing all the achievements that we have throughout the project and everything we found, we thought it was useful to encapsulate all the main findings, all the main aspects in a single and more readily usable document. And this document is what we call the handbook. So the Citizen-led Renovation Practice-Oriented Handbook is a document that has been started to be developed during the first phase of the project. It already started including all the most relevant findings from the pilots that participated in phase 1 of CLR. What we have done then during the second phase, which is the phase we are working in currently, is that we have added new insights from the pilots and learners and followers of the second phase. So as you can see, as it said here, we try to consolidate all the knowledge and experience gathered throughout these various phases, and also try to point out which are the insights and the tools and the methodologies that were developed. So I do suggest that you go and find on the CLR website this tool, which can be useful for anyone who wants to start a new renovation project, which has been which is initiated by the citizens. Together, this handbook forms a coherent framework. So the 3 main words or 3 main objectives here are to enable, to scale, and to sustain citizen-led renovation projects. And while doing that, we also work towards strengthening the foundations of this project by providing evidence-based guidance. So what we hope to do is to speed up the learning curve, the learning process of these new initiatives by not repeating the same mistakes that were done before by other initiatives, and trying to go straight to the solutions which work best. So here we offer tested and replicable models of governance, financing, and also community outreach. And this handbook is also directed at ensuring that CLR initiatives contribute meaningfully to Europe's climate neutrality and social inclusive objectives. So they are aligned indeed with all the objectives that the European Commission is also trying to achieve. While you go in this handbook, you will find 4 main areas of interest. The first is the area of expectation management. The second is the area of lasting governance and support structures. There is then the area of community building and outreach, and the also important aspect of accessible financial and legal support. So some key aspects that you will find there, and also examples from the initiatives that have participated in the program, are so first of all relating to expectation management, the importance of setting realistic expectations. This is something which is essential, as renovation process we know often move slower than planned, have unexpected moments in which you can lose time during the projects, in which maybe you don't get that grant, that permitting. There's a lot of factors which can influence. So it's important that the stakeholders who are supporting you and are around you don't get frustrated with the unexpected timelines. In this case, there are a few examples which are brought to you in the handbook. The first is concerns data collection and administrative steps, which can delay the progress. For example, here there's an example of the triple sec, the Irish case of triple sec, where missing building data slow the planning. Another example is financial and regulatory uncertainties can affect timelines. And here we can see the case of Copernico in Portugal, where delays in securing commercial offers have been experienced, and you can see how they have dealt with that. And another key aspect is that of engagement of persistence. So the engagement requires persistence. So here we have the cases of Itzgrey and Sutrand, who needed repeated workshops and local events to maintain participation. So also how you set expectations with what are the citizens or the people who are helping you conduct the renovation projects. The second main area is that of community building and outreach. Here we really discuss the important aspects of trust, of visibility, of local presence, which are all central to engaging residents in renovation efforts. And we point out to some tools such as the centralized information hubs, tailored technical guidance, and persona-based outreach, which have been developed and which help broaden awareness, or also tools that can be taken and readapted to new and emerging needs. Here we discuss also direct neighborhood engagement throughout workshops, walk and talks, pop-ups to build trust, and various solutions that can be used to encourage participation in a community. Reaching beyond early adopters also requires target support for vulnerable households and strategies. So here we also discuss how strategies were developed for vulnerable households and how you can build awareness and confidence in these specific parts of the population. And then we discuss also how leveraging trusted intermediaries and local networks is important, because it helps to engage these underserved groups, and also the important aspect of building community cohesion, which is one of also the objective of the citizen-led renovation projects, and not only to reach renovation, but also to, while doing it in parallel, strengthen the cohesion, the community aspects of the social aspect of these projects. We have then this third pillar, this third area of lasting governance and support structures. So throughout the project, we noticed that lasting transformation requires stable governance, strong partnerships, and strong models, which of course is a very general statement, but you will be able to see there very concrete examples of how you can embed initiatives in solid legal entities, and how this is vital for accessing funding and ensuring continuity. You will see examples of collaboration between various agents such as cooperative, municipalities, financial institutions, and community groups to strengthen capacity and knowledge exchange. We include also some scalable approaches, so various approaches include also advisory groups, group renovation offers. There's one-stop shops obviously have an important role, and how all of these kind of approaches can help expand renovation to new communities. We also from this side, we also talk about visibility and communication, which for sure was introduced in the previous areas. But from the side of governance and support structure, also here, trusted local figures, grow recognition and encourage wider participation. So also governance structure and support structures can be created to ensure visibility and communication. And then the last important aspect is that of accessible financial and legal support. And so here we discuss affordability, staffing, regulatory clarity. So again, all of these examples are included in the handbook through concrete examples that we experience, that we observe and analyze throughout the first 2 phases of the project. And here as well, you will see example concerning improved access to grants, revolving funds, collective purchasing, complementary financing tools. And then you'll see more examples on dedicated to coordination activities, technical advisory, legal and regulatory barriers, and finally, how renovation activities can be embedded within existing cooperative models to offer stability. Some additional components which you can also find in the handbook, besides this let's say findings that we are summarizing there, are some tools and some services. So it was also introduced before how during the 2 phases of the project we were able to develop, or the initiatives were able to develop some solutions which we're trying to make accessible and replicable. These are, for example, the technical renovation handbooks which were developed. There are persona-based outreach strategies, so strategies which are really focused on different typologies, on different personas of users, financial and legal advisory frameworks. You can also find reference to the guidance documents that have been developed, and which are many, and peer learning platforms that have been used throughout the project. Just also to go a bit behind the scenes and to tell you a bit about the process that we are currently undertaking. So the way in which we have updated this first handbook that was developed in phase 1 was that during phase 2, we had an in-depth review process with some of the new pilots which were participating and some of the learners and followers. All of them were asked to comment on the usefulness and completeness of the document, just to make sure that this was something that was intelligible and also easy to understand for also new initiatives, so not only the ones which we worked before during phase 1. And the various partners in the project, including me, Stavros, and a few more, have been working on the update of this document, which we're now finalizing. And so we'll try to, let's say, incorporate all the new views, and also from the previous examples that we had, try to bring new examples, both positive and negative, to try and showcase success factors, but also barriers in these different topics. Something very important also to mention is that you will soon find this first version of the handbook in the website, but then you will also find in the upcoming months a few new versions. These are versions which will be translated in all of the European Union languages, and each translation into each language will also include a country section related to the relevant language. So in a few words, for every member state, you will have a version which is both translated in that country's language and includes some more context on that specific country. So you will have information that makes you able to navigate the national, let's say, scenario. So aspects such as country-specific information on energy communities, the relevant legislation related to renovation, if there is any, funding bodies and potential funding schemes, potential tools developed for those regions. So if besides the tools which are in the handbook, there are maybe tools which have been developed for each specific country. You will find information on legislation on engagement of neighbors and volunteers in the renovation, so in a broader sense, and information on special grants for vulnerable households. We will also publish a joint version which includes this information for all the countries. So hopefully this can also be an interesting comparative tool for someone who is trying to analyze the situation of renovation or citizen-led renovation in different countries. So you will be able to see what is the status in the different countries, and yeah, hopefully get some insights from there. Yeah, so that was all on my side on the handbook. I guess for sure, if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat, and we'll have time later to discuss them. Now I bring back the stage to Stavros. Thank you, Stavros.
Thank you very, very much, Francesco. Indeed, once again, I believe it's important to highlight that this handbook is going to be translated, at least some of it, in order to make it accessible to all of the European citizens and inhabitants that are going to really be benefited from this handbook that we're currently finalizing, and as Francesco mentioned, indeed we are going to publish it for the first version soon, in order for you to be able to already start checking it and perhaps replicating it in your cases. Now I'm going to give the floor to Clemens Meyer, a researcher from Joanneum Research, who I believe was also one of the core experts that contributed to the success of the citizen-led Phase I and Phase II. Clemens, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Stavros. I will share my screen, and I will now explain you a bit on the barriers and opportunities for the large-scale replication of CLR. So we heard a lot what we did in CLR 1 and CLR 2 so far, and I will now outline what we learned out of that and what it needs to replicate CLR initiatives. So first of all, a quick recap of our CLR pathway and where we are at the moment. So citizen-led renovation supports local community approaches on renovation of residential buildings. In Phase I, we assisted 4 pilots in overcoming financial, legal, technical, and informational barriers. In Phase II, we enhanced our support service for selected pilots, learners, and followers. And in Phase III, so Phase III is now has started, and there the idea is to scale up the whole support service. And we saw that CLR faces a range of very interlinked barriers that hinders the upscaling. And for the next phase of CLR, it's very important to outline and investigate these barriers and find solutions to overcome these barriers. So first of all, we have technical barriers and opportunities for CLR. The main technological barrier that we saw in our projects was the technological complexity of the renovation process. So energy renovations involve many different steps and actors, such as planning, technical design, permitting, financing, but also procurement and construction. And you needed an integration of different technologies, so ventilation systems, insulation, but also renewable energy installations. And there, a lot of technical expertise and know-how is needed, which is sometimes missing in the community, or sometimes the community relies on just one expert. And if this expert leaves the community, then also this knowledge is gone. That's why it's very important that the community maintains the skills and resources within its community. And then the technological complexity could be also a major opportunity for CLR. So if CLR could support homeowners in all phases of the renovation process, then this technological complexity is one point where CLR could distinguish itself from conventional renovation. And for that, also external facilitators are needed or cooperation with existing support structures. So for example, one-stop shops or energy agencies, and CLR could facilitate the links to these existing support structures. And another opportunity or idea is that the community could also deliver training and capacity building activities to increase the technical expertise within the community to overcome the complexity barrier. The next, we saw that in some areas of Europe, there is a very dispersed and diverse building stock, which is also a very central barrier for renovation. There is a wide variation in building age, typology, but also ownership and condition. And there it is difficult to apply standardized renovation solutions, and individual tailored solutions are needed. And also here, CLR community could make a difference, as CLR initiatives are very well positioned to deliver this tailored support. The next, the difficulty in finding trusted service providers and suitable companies. So in some areas, we also saw a limited availability of skilled and suitable service providers that would be capable of managing the entire renovation process. Often high coordination efforts and transaction costs occur for communities. And again, this could be also an opportunity for CLR. So if the CLR community facilitates community renovations, if they bundle projects and thereby make the projects more attractive to companies, they could negotiate joint offers, collective procurement, and establish long-term cooperation models with trusted suppliers. Then in our projects, we also saw legal and regulatory barriers and opportunities. So overall, there is a rather low legal recognition of CLR in existing EU legislation and also national legislations. So the EPBD acknowledges local initiatives and citizen engagement, but it does not directly mention or promote citizen-led renovation. And citizen-led renovation is mainly focused on energy communities, which are defined in the Renewable Energy Directive and the Electricity Market Directive. But the definition of energy communities there mainly addresses activities related to energy sharing. So just energy efficiency as activity is mentioned in the citizen energy community definition, but not renovation. So renovation is not mentioned as a central activity of an energy community. And therefore, CLR lacks a clear legal status and therefore cannot benefit from enabling measures or support schemes that are designed for RECs and SECs. And there we recommend to update the definitions to really also include renovation as a central activity of an energy community. Then next, we also see that energy community legislation in some member states is not even transposed yet and not fully established yet. And yeah, that's why a strict focus on, or if CLR is limited to energy communities, member states with a pending transposition would be excluded from CLR, which is also a big barrier and could be a problem. And finally, also the missing integration of CLR into national legal and policy frameworks. So for example, the long-term renovation strategy or the national energy and climate plans, there CLR is not mentioned. And we would recommend that the national legislation should explicitly recognize CLR as a distinct model within energy and housing policies. But again, for that, we would need the legal recognition in the EU legislation. Links between CLR and one-stop shops should be strengthened. But the EPBD requires member states to establish one-stop shops. Here we think that the complementarity and the cooperation between CLR and one-stop shops should be strengthened. CLR communities could either receive support from one-stop shops, but also large initiatives could act as a one-stop shop and deliver the one-stop shop service on behalf of a public authority. And that should be, again, clarified and put into legislation. Then the complex and long approval permitting processes. So in renovation, or when you do building renovation, you're always confronted with issues with building permits and licenses for renewable energy installations. This is sometimes a very long process with high administrative effort, and there CLR can act as a facilitator. What we also saw in our project is that if the CLR initiative is cooperating with a municipality, so if the municipality is included to CLR, to the activity of CLR, it could improve the approval and permitting process. So we think that municipalities should be an integral part of CLR to better support the permission process. Recent EU legislation addressed permitting barriers already. So the EPBD requires simplification of the approval process, and the EED calls for removing non-financial barriers and providing technical assistance. So there is activities are ongoing to simplify the process, but still we saw in our project that this is a very major barrier, and it would be very helpful to simplify the process. And then sometimes there are also legal liability concerns of the community leaders. So it's very important to define at the beginning of the project the legal liability. Often it's better that the community only has an informative role, that they don't overtake all the tasks because of this liability concerns. And finally, also existing tax regulations do not clearly define how volunteers' contributions should be treated. So that was also a problem in one of our communities. Financial barriers and opportunities. There, the most relevant barrier is definitely the high renovation costs and long payback periods, which is, of course, a barrier for renovation in general, but also for CLR, it's a very central barrier. For CLR, there are also additional costs for coordination, community creation activities, but also outreach and professional guidance. But on the other hand, CLR could reduce costs in some cases through bundled projects or bulk procurements. And overall, we see that innovative community financing is needed to overcome this barrier. There is a lack of funding and unstable public funding schemes for renovation activities in general. There are sometimes long and administrative application processes. So community leaders or experts have to facilitate access to funding or financial support. And also dedicated funding for community renovations is needed. So not only for the renovation process itself, but also for creating the community, for citizen engagement. Yeah, as this is also a very important activity of the community. And then finally, we also have social or community related barriers and opportunities. First of all, the low participation and engagement of citizens in communities or community activities. So it's really important that CLR focuses on citizen engagement and participation and establishes long-term relationships. So long-term trust building and facilitation is very important, and not only initial engagement. Then another barrier that we saw is the complex decision-making processes, especially in multi-owner buildings. It's very difficult sometimes to reach full consent, which is needed for doing renovations. Also there, we think CLR is beneficial and could make a difference if they mediate and support with expertise to find a compromise. Then it's also difficult to engage vulnerable groups. With CLR, this could be easier as CLR knows the local situation. So CLR is quite good situated to engage also vulnerable groups. And finally, we also see sometimes there is an unclear role allocation within CLR initiatives. So technical advice, support for all phases, or also implementation. And their expectation management is needed. So what will be delivered by the community, what will be delivered by the members themselves. And yeah, there it's important to establish from the beginning clear member agreements. Okay, yeah, thanks a lot. That was my short presentation on barriers, opportunities, and our recommendations to overcome them.
Thank you very, very much, Clemens. Personally, I would say that it will be interesting to explore later in the Q&A if some of the participants have faced similar barriers, or if you have identified some additional barriers that you wanted to share with us for us to be able to explore even further, or some opportunities perhaps. But now I think it's quite time to learn about what comes after. What comes after the phase 2 is the phase 3. And we are going to hear from Claudia Carani, the project coordinator, I would say, of the phase 3, which is dedicated, the phase 3 is dedicated to upscale the projects to make the concept more horizontal in order to involve 10, I would say, enabling organizations to target the citizen energy. So about Claudia. Claudia is the head of the European projects in ES, the Energy and Sustainable Development Agency based in Modena, Italy. And she is responsible for development of projects related to the rational use of energy, renewable energy sources, EPC standards, and energy communities supported by the European Commission. Claudia, the floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon. So thanks very much for this invitation, and we are very happy to participate. I'm very happy to participate in this event. CLR 3 started in January this year, so we had almost 1 year of overlapping with CLR 2, and we had the possibility to learn a lot about the outcome of the second phase and also from the first phase, and pick up all the material and documents and reports that have been developed in the last years, and that are a precious contribution to our work. So I have a presentation as well. Yes, here. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to start my presentation providing you some information and data that were published in the scientific reports that is called Tandem, that has been published in August this year, and in the framework of ESPON 2025, that is a cooperation program. And with this study, you can see there are the data of the energy communities established in each region in Europe. And as you can see, there are some regions that, for example, like Greece or Ireland, or Austria, that has more than 230 energy communities, while there are some countries where there are fewer than 20 energy communities. And this reason is depends on legal and institutional framework that is very heterogeneous, and this affect the establishment of the energy communities, but also the long-term sustainability. So what we need is to have a long-term established organization that are able to provide services that are the main target of the CLR3 initiative. So the idea is that the energy communities become the organization that have the responsibility to involve citizens and accelerate the pickup of renovation projects, and work not only at building level, but involve neighbors and the whole community in this process with a snowball effect. So it's really important that we have in Europe organizations that are well established, that have the possibility to deliver services and that are supported by the legal framework. So we have a big gap on this. And I think CLR initiatives had the responsibility also to provide the feedback to the European Commission, the Parliament, on what the necessary policies that are requested by the European countries in order to support the establishment of long-term energy communities. The second information that was collected by this report that is very interesting is what energy communities are doing. We know that they are important for the energy system. They are impacting the energy system, developing renewable projects and with the collective self-consumption. So it's a new type of concept in the energy system, but what we need is that they are able to provide additional services, ancillary services that are not only related to the energy flexibility, but also include renovation projects supporting the citizen with a bottom-up approach. So here you can see which are the services that actually most of the energy communities are providing. So in the top, you can see awareness campaign, education and training, energy cafe, energy poverty reduction. But if you go below, you can see that some of them are working on the renovation. So with energy efficiency assessment, energy audit, energy efficiencies renovation project, smart meter installation, and other energy saving measures. So this is I mean, they are in the bottom part of this image, but you can see that energy community are starting to work on the sector. So it's very important for us to have this figure because we are going in the right direction. What is important also is are the drivers. The European Commission provided legislation ecosystem that is very important, and in under transposition, most of the directives you see here are under transposition at country level, but all of them have a topic that you can find inside the initiatives, the policies and the legislations that are the role is the role of the citizen and of the communities that will provide to the European Commission enough support to deliver the final goals. So the EU Green Deal is a master plan for decarbonization, but inside this important instrument for the European Commission, you can find that the just and inclusive transition, in the just and inclusive transition, the citizen and the cities and the local actors are fully involved. And in the renovation wave that expect to increase the rate of retrofit, to double the rate of retrofit by 2030, you can see that there is an important role of the energy community. So all the initiatives are community-based, and also the one-stop shops are crucial to deliver this renovation of the buildings. And moreover, we have the directives. I mean, I didn't include the RED II directive because it established the energy communities, but we have the energy performance building directive that is really important. Is by the end of the year, all the countries should deliver to the European Commission the National Renovation Plan, and next year they should adopt it. And here we have all the renovation targets for each country, but what you can find here is also the building passport, and also the directive include the services, the technical services and financial services for the citizen to renovate their buildings. And here in the Energy Performance Building Directive is where CLR comes from. So this is the mother of CLR initiative, and we refer to this directive because we are supporting the acceleration of the renovation in Europe. We have also the Energy Efficiency Directive that is really important because it includes the local authorities and the energy communities in delivering energy services. And finally, which is very important, the Social Climate Fund that includes the vulnerables in the energy transition initiatives. So this is more or less the ecosystem where we work, and it's important that we provide to the European Commission a feedback on how the directives are implemented at national level to support the collective-led renovation, because this is one important piece of work that we have to deliver. So this is more or less the process that you already know. We have CLR 1 from 2021-2022, where defined the strategies to engage the citizen at local level, and CLR 2 activated the energy communities. Now we move to CLR 3, where there is an important part of pilot initiatives in Europe for renovation, and test innovative models for the local governance and upscale project to make the concept more horizontal. In the first application, we were in 5 energy agencies. So ICE, which is the leader of the consortium. Regea is the energy agency of Croatia. Then we had the CODEMA, the energy agency of Dublin, and VCE, that is the energy agency of Valencia, and 2 energy agencies that are in France that are consortiated in one enabler, and they are Aurai and Alter. So we are the initial consortium together with Energy Cities and Fedarene, the European Network of Energy Agencies. But during the first year, we selected additional 5 enablers. Now we have the additional budget, so we are going to select another one. So by the end, we will be 11 enablers that will have the main aim to provide technical assistance to energy communities and to citizens to promote renovation projects at local level. I think this is an important part of the activity. We are, as you can see from the geographical point of view, we cover different countries. And if you remember the first figure I show you, for example, Ireland, we selected a second organization. And the new organization, sorry, I forgot, the first part of the consortium are only energy agencies, but in the second phase, when we recruited additional 5/6 now enablers, we were looking not only for energy agencies, but also association of energy communities and one-stop shops. So the new enablers are, most of them are association of energy communities and are already providing services to the citizens. So and they are more advanced compared with us. So it's very nice to have different perspectives. And as you can see, as I said, in Ireland we have 2 organizations because they have many energy communities, and they are providing good pilot initiatives. So which are the services we provide? We are assessing and identifying the projects. So we have very diverse projects among Europe. Some of us are focusing on the engagement. Some of, like in Valencia, they're focusing on integrating energy efficiency measures with resilience measures in the buildings because they were flooded last year, and some of they are looking to prefabricated solution for insulation. Some are working on renovating existing buildings that also public buildings and make them available for the community. So really different sort of projects. And therefore, also the technical assistance requested is very difficult to say which is. So some of those are working on co-design, some on collective design, some are working on engagement of the citizen. Some of us are working on providing legal assistance, some in energy audits and financing plan of the investment. So some are working on more on the contract side when for the retrofit. So very different purpose according with the projects we're working in the implementation phase. All the enablers developed an implementation plan where they identify at least 3 energy communities that we call CLR collectives. And there are some countries that initially, from like Croatia, didn't have the transposition of the RED II directive, so they worked initially with cooperative of citizens, but now that they have the legal framework, they are moving to energy communities. So we would like to stay close to the definition of CLR collectives with the energy communities. So every enabler selected 3 CLR collectives, and at least they are working on 1 project. But the numbers are really, really more, because we, for example, in Italy, we just had this morning the event with all the energy communities in our region. So we engaged 40 energy communities that are all interested in the city-led renovation concept. And we also invited the CLR2 energy community from Ferrara, Il Castello. So they reported their experience, and it's very interesting concept. So we expect to have much more impacts. How we will do it? We identify a figure that for us is really important, because the neighbors are sometimes based far away from the energy communities, and they can provide technical assistance and support the energy communities in delivering the projects together with the members and the citizen. But sometimes you cannot be everywhere. So we identify the figure of the ambassadors that is a person that is inside the CLR collective that take the responsibility to create the bridge between the community and translate the concept of CLR into the CLR collective. And this is a person that speaks the same language of the collective and can be a reference point for the questions and provide information. And also they can have the role of communicate with the other stakeholders, especially with the local authorities, the building owners, the building companies, the material suppliers. So all the stakeholders that can be interesting for the CLR project can be can communicate with the ambassadors. And also they really are engaged in the replication of the initiatives to scale up the initiative and replicate in other contexts. So for us, these figures is really important. And we are expecting to even organize capacity building activities for the ambassadors to train them and make them with enough skills to support the collectives and the projects. Just to show you some examples of the projects that our enablers are supporting. Spete is the enabler in Greece, sorry. And this is one energy community, the Hyperion energy community, where they're working now. Is an energy community that has 123 members, mainly households. And the main aim is to transform the energy community in an ESCO and will be responsible directly for the renovation of the buildings of the members. So this is an important scale up for the energy community because they have to transform and also increase the capacity, and of course they will not be alone in this process because we have the neighbor that will support them and integrate the service that they are not able to perform. As you can see, in every project, we identify also the vulnerable group that we are addressing. So here we have some gender balance that is quite important. And we can move to the next one. This is interesting. This one is one of the most advanced enabler we have in the consortium. Is Ecovision, is in Ireland, is a new enabler that one was selected with a selection process. And the Ecovision is an association of energy communities, and they are working with this Kill Lady Community Householding Association. They are delivering a very interesting project because they bought an area where they are building a new house for elder people with services integrated for elder people, and they are building this house so the older citizen can move from their house to this new building, and they are buying the house from the older citizen and renovating them, reducing the size and the square meters because they are too large, and selling them to the families, because in Ireland there is a high pressure for lack of buildings, residential buildings. So many people are moving to the countryside to find an apartment. So this solution can respond both to the grey economy demand, but also to the social demand of the families, and to the also the sustainability demand. So I think it's very good mix of solutions that meet all the needs of the community. We have another example. Energy Samen is a Dutch federation of energy community, and they reported out that in Netherlands they have many solutions, especially funding solution. Also technical assistance is quite good, but what they need to know to do is to engage the community and the citizens. So they're working on the co-design activity of the project and collecting also all the demand of the citizen, and so the engaging process, the co-design process, they're focusing on this activity. We move to the last is our example from ICE, but we are sharing this project together with other enablers, because also Codema in Ireland and VCE in Spain is working on the same topic. So I've reported this example, but we are a group of enabling structures that are working on the same topic, that is the purchasing groups. So we are establishing at local level purchasing groups for the purchase of, for example, of windows, of heating pumps. So it will support the members of the energy communities in the procurement of building solutions for the energy efficiency. This is quite complicated, because you have to identify the companies, the building companies, to identify the prices, to put together the demand and collect the offer, and also the contracting part is quite crucial to be developed. So this is very interesting as well. We have also a lot of communication, as you had in CLR 2 and CLR 1. So we believe that it's quite important also to have a networking activity with other networks that are available at EU level. For example, the Energy Community Repository, the Energy Community Facility, the EU Peers, the European Bauhaus Initiative. So we are creating synergies with the other networks in order to disseminate the best practices, but also to integrate our projects. And at last, I already mentioned this part. Is my last slide. I have another one, sorry. It's quite important that we provide a feedback on our work to the European Commission, and we established a policy board where we will invite also the CLR2 policy board. We expect them we hope them to join our policy board, because we think that is important to have a continuation of this activity. And there are very good stakeholders actually in the policy board of CLR2. So we expect them to continue the activities also with us, and we need to provide feedback on the implementation of the projects, but also on the barriers that we are encountering in our daily work with the citizen-led renovation initiative. We set up also a quite interesting monitoring tool in Power BI. So we will have the capacity to show many KPIs at EU level that will be integrated with the storytelling. So it's not only numbers, but we want to integrate this with the storytelling of what is happening at local level. But this will provide a feedback on the snowball effect that we have to demonstrate to the European Commission. So which kind of project delivered more impacts and the replication potential of the pilot initiative. So thanks very much. I hope you will be joining also our events in the future, because as the policy board, I think the continuation of the activities is quite important, and thanks for the work you've done.
Thank you very, very much, Claudia. Indeed, it was quite impressive, all this action that would take place in the next years, and the examples were really amazing. I think really we are scaling all this project and the citizen-led renovation initiative to the next level. Now that I'm having you here, before jumping to some polls I wanted to have in the chat, I was really triggered, I would say, about the policies that you mentioned. And personally, I believe I'm having one question on basically how all these lessons learned, for example, or how can the lessons from the Phase III could influence all these national or European policies, for example, EPPD, Energy Efficiency Directive, or some other directives that are existing, most focusing on the energy efficiency renovation. Could you perhaps respond on this?
Yeah,
and
I
of
mean,
course, I would like to invite everyone in the chat to submit their own questions as well.
Yeah, I mean, for the EPBD, all the countries will submit the draft of the renovation plan to the European Commission by the end of December, and then start the consultation process. So we will provide during the consultation process feedback together with our CLR, because it's really important that we have also at national level reference to the role of energy communities and the capacity that they should have in the renovation process. And also we can provide feedback on the European Commission of best practices. For example, in Italy now we have an incentive that is called Conto Termico, that is addressed to cover the capital cost for the renovation of the buildings. Now the energy communities from January will be allowed to deliver an application also from their members. So, for example, if a member of an energy community want to install an insulation or substitute the windows, can ask to the energy community to support the application to assess this incentive. So this allowed the energy communities to collect the renovation process projects and apply for funding. And this is really interesting because you can then, collecting all the requests, you can also collect some companies that can provide solutions and reduce the cost for the solution. So, so those are best practices that we are looking for, but also we can really provide a feedback at national level on the implementation of the PBD and also to the European Commission. So I think the role is quite important.
Thank you very, very much. Indeed, I am impressed how much influence and how much support dedicated we can provide to all the energy communities and like all the citizens that could be supported and could be defended from all this initiative.